Rocky was in the park crying. Some of his so-called friends had been picking on him, as they did quite often. Nothing upset him more, but no matter how much he told them, shouted at them, or threatened them, they would not stop. An older friend who had seen it all take place came to talk to Rocky.
Hey buddy, you alright? Man, I saw what happened. Buddy, if you want all that to stop, you're going to have to do what this little bull named Sparky Hooves did. Would you like me to tell you the story of Sparky Hooves?
Sure.
Alright. Sparky Hooves was a fighting bull. His field was next to the farmer's house, and Sparky could see through the farmer's window. One day, Sparky stood next to the house, watching the farmer's TV, and they were televising a bullfight. Sparky realized that this is what lay ahead of him, and so he spent the rest of his life preparing for that day, the day of the fight. Soon that day arrived. When Sparky entered the bull ring, he was jabbed in the back, and it was very painful, and Sparky felt like his blood was boiling, screaming for revenge, but he knew exactly what he needed to do, so he used self-control and remained still. Soon the bullfighter appeared, trying to provoke Sparky, swishing his cape in the air. Sparky felt like sticking his horns deep into the irritating guy, but he swallowed his anger, used self-control, kept still, and waited. No matter what they did, trying to provoke him with jabs, wave flags, and red capes, Sparky used self-control and refused to react to the prodding. After some time, the crowd started whistling and booing. It got so bad that the bullfight organizers decided to change the bull. This had been the most boring bull anyone could remember. So Sparky Hooves was returned to his field and allowed to live out the rest of his life in peace. Never again did they put him in a bull ring, because everyone knew that he would provide no amusement.
Yeah, well, what's that got to do with me?
Well, buddy, it's got everything to do with you. You see, they took Sparky and put him in a bull ring. They poked him and prodded him to make him mad, and they all laughed at him and had a good time. But once he stopped reacting to them bothering him, they got bored and left him alone. It's the same thing with you. Your friends, they give you a hard time, they tease you because they see how angry it makes you. But if you'd learn to be like Sparky and do what he did, by just not responding to them and using your own self-control, they would get bored and they'd move on to something else for their entertainment. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Rocky believed none of it. However, in the next few days, he gradually tried to put this advice about self-control into practice. At first, it wasn't easy, but as Rocky kept to his plan, the bullies got bored with him. In a few days, they found more interesting things to do than pick on Rocky.